what's happening around the world and what's happening here at home. A very good evening to you and welcome to Primetime News. I'm Sandhu Ferdinando and here are our headlines for tonight.
President plays the West on human rights record. President reveals massive imbalance on spending ratio of provincial councils. 15% for the people, 85% for maintenance of the council. Western Provincial Council session postponed due to lack of quorum. Speaker says he did not receive a list of MPs who allegedly used cocaine. University students tear-gassed in Colombo. Management faculty of the Sri Jayawardhanapura University closed until further notice. Shammi Silva elected as president of Sri Lanka Cricket.
First up in local news, a protest was staged in Colombo today. Now, police used tear gas and water cannons to disperse a group of university students who were protesting in Colombo. The Inter-University Students' Federation commenced the protest from the technical junction in Maradana, citing several demands including the withdrawal of the class suspensions imposed on several students from the Southern Eastern University of Sri Lanka.
Police said students attached to the IUSF attempted to move towards the presidential secretariat and tear gas and water cannons were fired to prevent them from proceeding beyond the ceramic junction in Colombo. After the police fired tear gas and water cannons, the protesters held a meeting and dispersed.
A debate was held about the Constitutional Council in Parliament.
The Constitutional Council that was introduced to eradicate corruption in Sri Lanka has now become the symbol of corruption. Attorney-at-Law Suhada Gamlath served as the Solicitor General. However, instead of Suhada Gamlath, Attorney-at-Law Jayantha Jayasuriya was appointed as the Supreme Court Judge. The committee report on the central bank bond scam was sent to the Attorney General with the intention that a case would be filed against this matter. 4 years have passed and a case is yet to be filed. When the position of IGP was vacant, the most senior officer was DIG SM Vikramasekara. However, it was Pujitha Jayasundara, an officer much junior to DIG Vikramasekara in terms of seniority, who was appointed as the IGP. A High Court judge was promoted to the Court of Appeal, disregarding 5 senior High Court judges. The President then proposes Attorney-at-Law Dipali Vijayasundara as the Chairman of the Court of Appeal. This proposal is then rejected. Therefore, as per the 3rd para of the 41st chapter of the Constitution, we propose that guidelines be prepared. To date, the government has not prepared or publicized such guidelines through Gazette notifications. To date, guidelines have not been presented to Parliament either.
When the 19th Amendment to the Constitution was presented in Parliament, we all voted in favour of a particular section of the Constitution that states the opinion of the Chief Justice must be obtained. When Attorney-at-Law Dipali Vijayasundara's name was proposed, the Chief Justice rejected the proposal. During the appointment of the Attorney General, 3 names were proposed by President Maithripala Sirisena. However, the Constitutional Council then requested for an opinion from the President as to who should be given priority. It was President Sirisena who then proposed the name of Attorney-at-Law Jayanta Jayasuriya, the position of Attorney General. MP Gammampila stated that the IGP was appointed in an inaccurate manner. The President, in his capacity, proposed 3 names to the Constitutional Council, and it was the President who requested that one of these individuals be appointed as the IGP. The Constitutional Council then took a vote, and based on who received the most number of votes, the IGP was appointed. It was the President who proposed the name of Attorney-at-Law Surasena instead of Attorney-at-Law Deepali Vijayasundara. Attorney-at-Law Deepali Vijayasundara's name was proposed by the President only after this. However, the Chief Justice rejected the proposal. The Constitutional Council has stated in Parliament that they welcome the proposals and suggestions of MPs. However, we have not received such proposals.
We agree even to date that the composition of the Constitutional Council should be changed. The political representation in the council should be reduced. 7 of the 10 members must be independent intellectuals. I believe that in the future all 10 members must be independent intellectuals. The Speaker at any point did not interfere when members were appointed to the committee, and I state this with much responsibility. How was Mohan Piris appointed as the Chief Justice? Was it based on his seniority? Judges are aware as to how instructions were given to judges over the phone. When the Chief Justice was appointed, the names of Priyasad Dep and K.T. Chitrasiri were sent. It was sent by the President. If names were sent based on seniority, the most senior in the Supreme Court was Priyasad Dep. However, if names were sent based on seniority, then the President should have only sent the name of Priyasad Dep. However, he failed to do so. The current Chief Justice Nalin Pereira was also not the most senior in the Supreme Court. His name was clearly sent by the President. If anyone is of the idea that all proposals and documents sent by the President will be sealed, then they are wrong. The Constitutional Council was established to change this method. We will not agree to make the Constitutional Council another rubber seal committee. We changed an era when Supreme Court judges were appointed in supermarkets. This is an effort to change the new system. Who is the Speaker? He is a leading UN peer. The Prime Minister is the leader of the UNP. Sambandhan accepted the position of opposition leader on behalf of the UNP. The JVP, on the other hand, does not support the Prime Minister or the opposition. The JVP is a party that worked hard night and day to ensure a UNP government will come into power. In that sense, 7 out of 10 members of the Constitutional Council represent the UNP. These decisions were taken by this committee.
Meanwhile, views on the Constitutional Council and the 19th Amendment to the Constitution were expressed in Parliament today.
I must clearly state that I have no criticism against the judges that have received appointments to the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court. Upon my appointment to office, I gave life to a legitimate child. When I came into power, I did what no leader in the world had done. I gave up powers that were vested in me. That is how I supported the program of this government. But that legitimate child that I spoke about, the 19th Amendment to the Constitution, I'm sad to say, has been abused. Because we couldn't control the Valikada prison and the high-profile criminals there, we discussed with the Justice Minister and took a decision to transfer them to the Angunukola Palasa prison. The Human Rights Commission sends a long list of questions demanding for answers from the head of the STF. The chairman of the Human Rights Commission held a press briefing after my speech and made a statement that the President had said this and that when he says things like this, we don't feel like continuing our work and we feel like we should leave. I would like to question as to if the Human Rights Commission is protecting the rights of the 21 million people of this country or the human rights of the underworld gang members and criminals. The Constitutional Council had rejected the names of 14 judges. Some of those names I had submitted 3 times. Why did I do that? Those judges cannot come before the Constitutional Council, so they come to where they can speak of their grievances and express their views. If the Constitutional Council rejects the name of a judge, that specific judge has the right to know the reason that led to his or her name being rejected by the Constitutional Council. On the 27th of April 2015, when the 19th Constitutional Amendment was being passed, Honorable Karu Jayasuriya made a statement in the House and said, "We need eminent people from society to free the politicized society, this politicized public service sector, the politicized police and the politicized judiciary. That is what we expect today. This is what we promise the people. There is no point in speaking about this bill if politicians are the only people who are appointed to these commissions. There is no point in even tabling this bill. We do not consider our primary intentions to be fulfilled if this is done. Honourable Speaker, you are the one who said this. Does the President have no right to question as to why the names sent by him are being rejected? I not only have the legal right to look into the activities of the Constitutional Council, but also have a moral obligation to do so. A Supreme Court determination on the constitutionality of the matter clearly stated that the Constitutional Council cannot operate exceeding the powers of the President. Not only these judges, the process that the Constitutional Council adopted in appointing the Inspector General of Police and the Attorney General, according to what I know, in my opinion, is unethical. The people in the country have issues with these appointments that were made, especially regarding the IGP. I have been informed by reliable sources that the Chief Justice did not reject the nominations I made for appointments at higher courts. I have information that all of them were approved by the Chief Justice. Upon this basis, I have an issue with the power that was used by the Constitutional Council to reject the nominations made by me. Is it not clear that by this move the Constitutional Council has intentionally disregarded the authority of the courts and the sovereign power vested in me by the people? According to my view, this is a massive violation of the Constitution. In my opinion, the reason for this is the failure of the Constitutional Council to perform the procedures, rules and regulations on their own conduct during the past 4 years.
Parliament decided to install 10 new elevators at a cost of 100 million rupees following the malfunctioning incident where 12 MPs were trapped in the elevator.
12 parliamentarians were trapped in the parliamentary elevator for 15 minutes. In Parliament yesterday, a decision was reached to fix 10 elevators after parliamentarians presented their facts without an objection from the opposition. They have then made a swift decision to spend 100 million rupees to fix 10 elevators at the Parliament. If there is a requirement to install new lifts, we do not question the need to do so. Yet are there not other matters that need to be given utmost priority when it comes to the public service and would cost around rupees 100 million?
Now, while millions are to be spent on 10 lifts in Parliament, there are schools across the country founded centuries ago that are in dire need of restoration and repair, but yet the lives of students studying in such conditions are placed at risk as the continuous appeals have fallen on deaf ears. This is the Udumadura Sri Vidya Pradeepa Secondary School located in the Valapane area. This school, which commenced operations in 1912, now accommodates nearly 400 students. This 60-year-old building is now in a dilapidated condition. On the 1st of December 2015, an officer from the District Engineering Department who visited the premises had recommended that this building be immediately demolished. This hall must now be demolished. Our children continue to study in this building, and if something unfortunate is to take place, who will be held responsible? Even though the principal and parents of students had requested for a new building to be constructed, the relevant officials have not provided any solutions. This is a school that had produced 11 students who passed the scholarship exams. The students have been compelled to engage in their studies inside the teacher's break room, as some classrooms are on the brink of collapsing. This is the fate of just one of the many rural schools in the country.
We are afraid to send our children to school. This area experiences heavy rain. There is no point in complaining to the government as they never provide a solution to any of our matters. We live by farming. Therefore, it is with much innocence that we request this building to be made. Our village is prone to landslides. All those who are displaced when landslides take place take shelter in this building. All public activities and events take place in this hall. We request the President to look into this matter and to take steps to construct a new building.
These children do not seek luxuries but only ask for one thing, that is their right to protection and education. Shouldn't these rights be protected, ranking them as topmost priority? Convening a media briefing today, the National Trade Union Centre questioned the priorities of the government. The pension scheme which was abolished on the 1st of January should be abolished again, and the old pension scheme which was abolished should be definitely implemented again from this budget. Because this is the last budget of the current government, we believe that Ranil Wickremesinghe will not be able to present a budget afterwards. As the Prime Minister, he refrained people from exercising their rights. His history will be pleasant if he rectifies his mistakes before leaving this government as the Prime Minister. Considering the rise of cost of living that has increased since the 8th of January 2015, the salary of public servants should be increased. Private sector workers request a salary increase of rupees 10,000.
That's
where the issue is. They are attempting to protect these people who they think are important. So we request the media organizations to allocate the exact 20 minutes you allocated for the Parliament lift issues to give publicity to those estate workers who are on a daily struggle. The government will not be able to look away from these issues. So give them some airtime. We think this will at least help them to see the problems of the estate workers. The internal financial report of Sri Lankan Airlines for December has revealed previously undisclosed information, which in turn has raised many eyebrows across many spheres. Sri Lankan Airlines had incurred a loss of 24 billion rupees or 24,000 million rupees during the first 9 months for the financial year 2018 to 2019. According to an internal financial report from UL, the national carrier owes almost $461.5 million to financial institutions. Of this, UL owes two leading state banks $200 million and $198.18 million respectively. In addition, Sri Lankan has secured a bank overdraft facility of $70 million. As of the 31st of December 2018, the remaining debt of UL was around $400 million or 71,840 million rupees. A highlight in the report is Sri Lankan Airlines has to pay $175 million or rupees 31,430 million for a bond which is set to mature in June 2019. As interest to this bond, the airline will also have to pay over $823,000, which in turn is rupees 147 million. According to the report, by December 2018, Sri Lankan Airlines debt was rupees 128,484 million or rupees 128 billion. The airline also has to pay another $36.53 million for fuel purchased from Sipetco. Sri Lankan Airlines published a media release on the 27th of June 2016 stating that it will discontinue flights to Frankfurt and Paris as the government is not prepared to carry the continuous losses made by the carrier. In a surprising move, the airline suspended flights to popular destinations in Europe and reassigned those flights to Melbourne, Australia. However, looking at this internal financial report, it is evident that Melbourne is the most loss-making destination for the national carrier. Who is responsible for handing over an airline to those who are not qualified for the job and waste public money to the tune of millions and billions of rupees obtained through loans from state bank loans and treasury bonds? Now, continuing in more local news, President Maithripala Sirisena spoke in Parliament about the expenses incurred by the provincial councils. It's been over 30 years since provincial councils were established through the 30th Amendment to the Constitution. No government has conducted a review on the provincial council system, not this government and not even myself. Today, 85% of the funds that are allocated for provincial councils are spent on the maintenance of that council. Only 15% is spent on people and development. So we have not fulfilled our duties in reviewing the provincial council system and strengthening them and rectifying these errors. Now, while the President is emphasizing the need to follow up on the provincial council elections, today the Western Provincial Council meeting had to be stopped halfway through. This was due to the lack of quorum in the House, and the meeting had a heated start.
A heated situation arose when the chairman refused to give an opportunity for a private explanation.
කුඩිකාර මන්ත්‍රීතුමායි පැහැදිලිකමක් තියෙන්නේ. ඒක අපිට ගන්න බෑ ඒක අපිට යන්න බෑ මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ. මොකද ඒක මේ පාර්ලිමේන්තු මන්ත්‍රීතුමා සම්බන්ධ මේකක් තියෙන්නේ. වරප්‍රසාද කලවිරු පිළිබඳ ප්‍රකාශ වෙන්නේ ඊළඟට. සත්වනේ මගේ ප්‍රකාශය ගන්න බැරියි. ඔබතුමා මේ පාර්ලිමේන්තු මන්ත්‍රීව නම පනත නඩුවක් තියනවාද මේකට පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ කොකෙන් ගහන 24 දෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා. අපිට අදාළ නැහැ ඔබතුමා මේ 74 කායන කියවන්න ඔබතුමා.
සභාපතිතුමාට කීකරු වෙන්නේ ඉගෙන ගන්න තිබුණා නීති ප්‍රකාරව කටයුතු කරා.
ගරු මන්ත්‍රීතුමා සමාවන්න මම කියන අහන්න පොඩ්ඩක්. කුඩිකාර මන්ත්‍රීතුමා මේක අහගන්න පොඩ්ඩක්. ඒක අහනවා. අපේ සභාපතිතුමානේ. නැත්නම් මටත් අහන්න පුළුවන්. කන් දෙකක් තියෙනවා මට මොලේකුත් තියෙනවානේ. ඔව් නේ අනිවාර්යයි. ඒ නිසා ඔයා කියන එක ඔක්කොම අහන්න බෑනේ. මගේ මොලේට
මොලයක් තියෙනවද නැහැ ඥානෙ නැතුව.
සියලුම අය මෙතනතර මාධ්‍යන ප්‍රකාශ කරා. කොකන් ගහන 24 දෙනා නම් කියන්න. ඒ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ කියයි ඒක. එහෙම බෑනේ. මම දේශපාලනය කරන්නේ.
ඔබතුමාගේ වගකීම පාර්ලිමේන්තු මන්ත්‍රීවරුන්ගේ වරප්‍රසාද ආරක්ෂා කරන එක නෙමෙයි. පළාත් සභා මන්ත්‍රීවරුන්ගේ වරප්‍රසාද ආරක්ෂා කරන එක.
Even though the chairman attempted to continue the meeting, Upali Kodikara continued his protest and then proceeded to sit on the floor of the chamber. A heated situation arose as a result of this. Afterwards, the proceedings were postponed for 10 minutes. Even when the chamber reconvened after 10 minutes, Upali Kodikara continued to cause disruptions to the proceedings. As a result of this and the lack of quorum in the chamber, the meeting was postponed to the 6th of March. More than 500,000 rupees is spent for a single provincial council meeting.
Now, Speaker Karuja Surya has stated that the list of names of the ministers accused of using narcotics has not been received yet. MP Ranjan Ramanayaka has stated that there are several parliamentarians who use narcotics in their possession. I state that a list of the accused has not been handed over to me yet by Deputy Speaker Ranjan Ramanayaka. I wish to inform you that steps have not been taken to hand over a list of those MPs by Ranjan Ramanayaka. 14 of Sri Lanka's most inspiring citizens make the V Awards 2018 grand finale held yesterday at Nelum Pokuna. The V Awards is a partnership between the UN, the government, various volunteer organizations and the academia and Newsfirst.
Launched in 2011, the National Volunteer Awards or V Awards is a journey to recognize and appreciate those who serve in silence in their communities. These individuals have selflessly contributed to Sri Lankan society and inspired others. 3 prestigious awards were given away with the energetic support of the Vayo Band. The award for volunteering for peace building was won by Hilir Mohammed. Hilir established the Fight Cancer team, which includes about 150 members with socially and religiously different backgrounds. With donations across Sri Lanka, he raised the funds needed for the PET scanner for the Apeksha Hospital in Maharagama within 3 months.
Thank you very much.
Dilip Chaturanga was adjudged as the Youth Volunteer of the Year for volunteering towards youth empowerment through education. As a software engineer from the Moratuwa University, he helps students who hail from an impoverished background to get a better education. Finally, Selvika Sahadevan was awarded the National Volunteer of the Year 2018. Selvika started Vimochana Home in 2011 and the home now offers more than just a safe place for drug and alcohol addicts, with 400 people coming in to rehabilitate themselves, which boasts a 70% success rate from 2011 to 2018.
I did not think I would win this award or any awards. Being the daughter of an alcoholic, as a little girl, I experienced the pain and shame. Alcohol brings to family members later on, when life gave me an opportunity to help alcoholics in their recovery. I took up the task with passion. I have received the help and support of my family, friends, well-wishers, and family of the recovered alcoholics throughout thick and thin. Thank you.
The controversial 300 megawatt power plant project in Kerala PTA was discussed at a press briefing convened at the Ministry of Power and Renewable Energy today. Subject Minister Ravi Kananayake, Secretary to the Ministry Suren Batakoda, and representatives of the final companies selected for the constructions of the power plant, namely Lanka Transformers and Windforces Company, were present at the event. Now, during the press briefing, there was a debate between the representative of the company Lanka Transformers and the Secretary to the Ministry of Power and Renewable Energy.
We have evidence to show that the Secretary was extremely generous to the company named TCL China during this process.
The statement made by Mr. Dhammika is wrong, and Technical Assessment Committee had twice rejected the tender by the company Windforce and recommended that it be awarded to Lakdanavi. So this 13-member committee had twice disqualified the tender of Lakdanavi. They had rejected it, but a tender from Windforce had never been rejected. Thereby Windforce was recommended. This is one of their personal attacks. An opinion is sought from the Procurement Commission. The Commission says that the Cabinet of Ministers can take a decision on the matter. But because this had gone for 2.5 years and because no power plant had been constructed during the past 10 years, the Minister decided to solve this issue for the Cabinet to award this to both the companies, because then this task can be done with. This is the real situation.
Nothing has been given to us without calling for tenders. If the CEB had asked us to help them by doing a project for them immediately, we had done that. I would like to ask the Secretary a very simple question.
This is an international competitive bidding tender. In this country, there are two guidelines to be followed in this type of tender. One is 2006 procurement guideline. Other one is 1998 procurement guideline. Which procurement guideline did you follow?
For this project, only one guideline can be used. If the 2006 guideline is being used, that cannot be used for any evaluation. That is wrong.
This is the letter that was sent as a reply to a letter they addressed to the Treasury. They write to the Treasury that VAT is not due for this project. Without saying that, he is lying to the Minister and this House. The duty of the Secretary is not to award tenders to you.
Under the Electricity Act, it is illegal to award this tender. The project given to us is illegal. We cannot do this.
They were the people who recommended to me to give this to both of them. They sat with me and drew up the plan of the plot of land and told me this is how we can do it. They were the people who brought the initial proposal. I am speaking the truth. In the tender process, if any applicant influences the government, they are disqualified. These people always influence the government. This was delayed for 2.5 years because of this.
He called us and made a proposal to us. What was that proposal? He said, withdraw your bid and you will get 30% of shares in their project. You will get the O&M agreement, the EPC contract. He asked us to withdraw our bid. He said this inside his room on the 31st of October 2018.
As this is a company owned by CEB, we presented to the Cabinet a way to do this fast within this same tender. We did not hide that. Then everyone in the Cabinet said that this is really good if we can get it for a lower price, but we will also obtain the permission of the Attorney General. So there was nothing that was hidden. If the Attorney General said that this was taken for the country, what is the barrier? We did not hide this. We informed Cabinet of this. The company that is to receive this said that this is illegal. I wouldn't say that. We look at it like this. If this was awarded properly and it can be constructed, then with the consent of the government and the backing of the Attorney General, if this is awarded, then it still can be constructed.
Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, founded in 1990, launched Centenary last evening with special event in Colombo last evening.
The president of CIMA, Stephen Swentozelski, and several other dignitaries attended the event. Several key figures who rendered a yeoman's service towards CIMA were appreciated at the event. Newsfirst was presented with an award of appreciation for providing media coverage for CIMA Sri Lanka events. Head of Corporate Affairs at Newsfirst, Sonali Wanikabaduge, accepted the award.
And now in sports news, Shammi Silva elected as the president of Sri Lanka Cricket, having received 83 votes at today's SLC elections.
the elections of Sri Lanka cricket was conducted at the Duncan White Auditorium at the Ministry of Sports. Jayantha Dharmadasa, who also contested for the post of president, managed to obtain 56 votes. Ramin Wickramaratne, who obtained 82 votes, and K. Madhivanan with 80 votes were appointed to the position of vice president. Arjuna Ranatunga was only able to obtain 70 votes. Mohan De Silva, who won 96 votes, was appointed as the new secretary, while his opponent Nishantha Ranatunga secured 43 votes. Kushantha Kapuatta, who obtained 94 votes, was elected as the assistant secretary. Lasantha Liyanage was elected as the new treasurer, while Lalit Rambukwella, who won 92 votes, was elected as the deputy treasurer.
And with that, wrap up primetime news for tonight. Do take care and good night.